What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ. You are now tuned in to the B side. That's right, this is the B side. And for this particular episode, I want to touch base on what I talked about in the Death of Slim Shady. The album is incredible. It's an amazing concept album. Eminem did a great job of really capturing the essence of the Slim Shady character. One track on here stood out to me for different reasons, right? The last track, track 19 on the standard release, was called "Somebody Save Me," and it featured a sample and the vocals from Jelly Roll. Um, in 2020, when COVID happened and everything was shut down, Jelly Roll released a song called "Save Me" that showed a video of him in a studio with D Ray, and it was just an acoustic version of this song, and it blew up and took off. Right now, I've said this before in other episodes. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Jelly Roll to us is a folk hero, right? And most of us know him as a rapper, not as the country music guy that he is, but he has made a second career in country music, and it is blossoming and taking off. His 4 year run has included everything from winning CMA awards, being Grammy nominated, selling out a hometown show, and now is being capped off this year with a big record-setting tour. He got to perform on stage with Eminem, where he did the "Sing for the Moment." Cool part about that moment, I remember watching that performance, and as Eminem's walking down the runway, you look in the background, you see Jelly standing there, and he is ad-libbing. You could tell he's singing along the words of the song. So he immediately goes from serious artist to full-time fan, right? And I don't know too many people in that situation that wouldn't have done the same. I just thought that was a really cool moment to see him break character in that moment, and enjoy that time and that moment on stage with one of the greatest rappers of all, if not the greatest rapper of all time, right? Um, but he would then go and release this on his album as a remix with Lainey Wilson, and it was Grammy nominated. So this song has been going on for a couple years now and really continuing to grow, right? This is a song people talk about all the time as life changing, right? And I remember I was listening to the Eminem album and I fell asleep, not because I didn't enjoy the album, like I said, but I fell asleep listening to the album. And I remember waking up when I heard Jelly's voice on that song. And I thought my playlist had skipped and went to a whole nother playlist where that song was placed at, but it wasn't. And I woke up when I heard Eminem's voice and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It was a When I tell you how big of a win this was for people in the Nashville area, not just that, but for local white rappers, for him to make that album is a game changer, right? That is a huge win for the underdogs, the people who are told you're not good enough, the people who are told that you can never do it, you'll never make it. That's huge, right? I had the privilege of meeting Jelly Roll in the mid 2000s through a mutual friend, Chad Arms. Y'all know Chad. Y'all have heard Jelly mention Chad several times. Well, I was in a group with Chad. At that time, I was going by the truth, right? When I tell people that I've had interactions with Jelly in the past, they always ask me if I have any stories, right? And I've never told these stories to anybody outside of our group or our friend circle, right? But I'm going to tell them today. I met Jelly, like I said, mid 2000s through Chat Arms. Um, I'm a blurb on this man's career, right? And I couldn't tell you the last time I had a conversation with him. Um, but he did come through on a few occasions and bless us with verses for our projects for absolutely nothing, right? No cost whatsoever. So one of the stories I'll tell you is I remember sitting in the den at Chad's studio. Chad, we used to record music out of Chad's den all the time, and Jelly would come through there and knock out verses for us again at no cost whatsoever. And I remember him coming through, and he did a song with me called "More Than Music." Did a song with me called "More Than Music," and I remember he came in, he sat at the table, and he was writing the verse. He had a piece of paper in front of him, he had a pen, and he's writing this verse. And it only took him probably 35, 40 seconds, maybe even a minute. And then he said, "All right, I'm ready." And he gets up there, didn't even grab the paper off the desk. He gets up there, knocks out the verse, didn't think anything about it, thanked him for it, appreciate it, Jelly, see you next time. And after he left, I remember going over to the table and I looked down at the paper, and this man didn't even write a verse. He wrote the last word of each bar that he was going to rap, and then he filled in the gaps. Nobody's ever done that in front of me before. I've never even seen an artist write like that, but that's how he used to write back in the day when he wrote raps. He was in and out. Boom. I bet he wasn't there 10 or 15 minutes, and he probably knocked out 5 or 6 songs for all of us, right? Super cool moment. The second story I'll tell you before we wrap this up is during that session, he actually put a drop at the end of the song because my phone kept blowing up, and it was some local guys that were calling me blocked. And he said, I told him I had issues with him or whatever, so he put this drop on there where he put his phone number in there and says, "You ain't got to call me blocked, call me straight through." And so he comes back a couple weeks later, and he's putting on some drops for the mixtape, and he says, "Tell him how I had to change my phone number for accidentally putting it on your last CD. Bet I don't make that same mistake twice," right? So just extremely grateful to have those memories and those moments with him. Then I know Chad still stays in contact with him. I haven't had contact with him in some time, so but I'm extremely excited to look from afar and to watch him grow in the industry in which he's carved his niche in, right? He has really become arguably the biggest artist in country music at the time, right? But being able to make this project, really, really great moment for all of us. Again, we'll continue to cheer for you every step of the way, right? So that's what I got, man. Somebody Save Me if you haven't checked it out. A really, really dope song. Glad to see two of my favorite artists collab on this song. This is going to be huge. I know they dropped it as a single right after the album dropped. So we'll see what happens from here. Maybe we get a video, maybe we don't. So that's what I got. This has been the B-side. Don't forget to rewind.
Shaking the hate off.